So now Allah is teaching us actually that the only way we're going to develop clear speech communication is to truly develop taqwa. And when someone has a problem with clear speech communication, it's not a problem of speech, it's a problem of taqwa. There's debates going on between Muslims and Christians, or Muslims and Hindus, or whoever, and the Muslim speaker like humiliates the Hindu, humiliates the atheist, just absolutely just demolishes them in public and just batters them, and you're like, yes, Islam. That's not taqwa.
This video is an extract from our deeper look of Surah Al-Ahzab, which is currently taking place live in Chicago right now during our 4-week intensive summer Quran seminary. But for the first time ever, we're also streaming the entire thing live exclusively within the Bayyinah TV app itself. It will not be here on YouTube or social media. So, register now on bayyinahtv.com to join Ustad Nu'man and other students on this transformational journey every evening from 7 to 10 p.m. Central Daylight Time. You can also catch up with the replays afterwards.
From here, we move to every ayah at the end has its magnificent burden. And that's what's happening in the next ayah. Again, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. We just heard Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in this ayah. And again, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu. We saw Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu before. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu udhkuru ni'matallahi alaykum. Right? Inna Allaha wa malaikatahu yusalluna ala nabi. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu sallu alayhi wa sallimu taslima. So we saw Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in the beginning. Then we saw Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in the middle. Now we're seeing Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu in the end. But in the end, they're coming back to back, aren't they? They're bunched together. This tells you that Allah is shaking the Muslims up. In the beginning, the enemy was shaking them. وَزُلْزِلُوا زِلْزَالًا شَدِيدًا. In the end, it's Allah shaking them. يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَكُونُوا كَالَّذِينَ آذَوْا مُوسَى يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ وَقُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا. And look at what happened. In the beginning, we saw يَا أَيُّهَا النَّبِيُّ اتَّقِ اللَّهَ. We're coming to the end, right? يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. اتَّقُوا اللَّهَ. What was Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was told to have taqwa of Allah in the beginning. Why? Because he was reluctant to express something just in the most subtle way. Just that. And then Allah just revealed and revealed. Just follow what you've been told. Don't just trust Allah. Just say it. تَخْشَى النَّاسِ وَاللَّهُ أَحَقُّ أَن تَخْشَاهُ. Over and over and over again. Over one issue. And at the end of it all, it wasn't even about Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because the whole point of Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is to be sirajan munira for you and me. So by the end of this surah, you don't just remember, oh, what happened with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Zainab, what happened with Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Zayd. No. What's going to happen with you? That's the point is what's going to happen with you. What's going to happen with me? Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. Have taqwa of Allah and say speech that is straightforward, ironclad. I'm going to show you some things. I don't know if you can see the screen. I want to show you the meanings of sad first. Then we'll go back. قُولُوا قَوْلًا سَدِيدًا is this is one of those worlds in an ayah. That's what this ayah is. First and foremost, let's understand what sad is. From sadid. As-sud was sad al-radam wal-jabal. A dam. You know where the water is held by a dam? That's called a sad. You know? هل نجعل لك خرجا على أن تجعل بيننا وبينهم سدا. And he said, no, I'll do better than sad. I'll make a stronger sad. It's called radma. Right? So sad is a dam. A large wall. It's also a mountain that barricades. A lot of empires in the world, they didn't keep expanding because they ran into mountains. Right? So they kept conquering until they ran into Caucasus or large mountain, ranges. And they're like, oh, well, I guess that's the end of the empire because there's too much to get on the other side of these mountains or go all around the ocean. It's going to deplete our resources. So this is the edge. This is the natural border God created for empires. Because you can't cross it. It's sealed. It's a natural seal. Right? That's called sad. So from this, the meaning of sad is something firm, closed gaps, seals, straight. So Allah is giving a quality of speech. Have taqwa of Allah and speak a kind of speech that has the quality of sadid. Also the sarf of it is important. Sadid is fa'il. So this is sifa mushabbaha, something that is consistently sadid. What does that mean? It means your speech is consistently straight and it's consistently without gaps. Straight and without gaps. Like the mountain doesn't have gaps and you can't move forward, or the wall without any cracks, or the dam that the water can't get through, right? So it's no gaps and it's straight. The two qualities of the word sad. So now we have to think about speech. How do you make sure speech is straight? And how do you make sure speech doesn't have cracks in it, holes in it? You have to say things, let's talk about not having holes. You have to say things that will not be misinterpreted. You have to say things in a way that the intent you had for what someone needs to understand is perfectly clear. There's no ambiguity left. So you have to develop the skill of absolutely clear communication, so there's no room for misinterpretation, or you're saying, even if you look further back and you say, فَلَا تَخْضَعْنَ بِالْقَوْلِ فَيَطْمَعَ الَّذِي فِي قَلْبِهِ مَرَضٍ. Don't be soft in your speech, because somebody will get the wrong idea and the people with a sickness in their heart will become hopeful that maybe there's a romantic opportunity here. Why? Because you spoke, but in the tone of your speech, there may be a khalal. So straighten it up. So it's not just about what you say, it's also how you say. It has to be aligned. By saying ittaqullah in the beginning, Allah is saying this is shu'batun min shu'ab at-taqwa. This is a component of taqwa. Allah is saying if you're really mindful of Allah, it immediately impacts the way you communicate. And you're mindful of the way what you're saying can be misinterpreted. Or the tone you're using can be taken to mean the wrong idea. You become mindful of what you say and how you say. And you're mindful of it also, if the word sadid is to fill a gap, you're talking to someone and you have a target in front of you. There's a reason for which you're speaking. And every word you're saying, the communication you're having is meant to hit that target. And that target is straight. You don't have a crooked target. You could speak to someone to make them upset. Is that true or no? Like the only reason you spoke to them is because you want to really make them upset. Can you sometimes make comments? The only purpose of those comments is to annoy someone. Is your target straight or crooked? You have a crooked target. Then your qawl is not sadid. Because then istidad is not just about the straightness of speech and the straightness of tone, but it's also the straightness of the intent of the speech. Where is this target going to strike? Am I trying to convince this person or aggravate this person? Am I trying to help this person or humiliate this person? What is my intent with this comment? When people say something really offensive and you say, what did you just say? I'm just saying. Or somebody will come to you and say, don't you think it's really stupid that you are taking this class? You say, what? I'm just asking a question. It's just a question. You're right, it is a question. But and it's a straightforward question. I'm not being offensive. I just want to know. They'll say, I just want to know. And you say, why do you want to know? Just curious. You know what that means? You're unwilling to express the true intent of your speech. I don't know. You could feign ignorance. You could pretend, I don't know, just curious. Just saying. Why are you asking me so many questions? Because I want to know what the target was. I want to know what the intent of speech was. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. Be intentful, purposeful, directed, straight, unflinching, not emotionally manipulative or easy to manipulate in your speech. So, and if we could develop that, man, this lesson, by the way, the takeaway is, if you're not doing anything wrong and says, what are you doing? What are you doing? Like I know young people that, start praying and their family freaks out that they're becoming an extremist. It happens. And the father says, what are you doing? What's next? You're going to hide a bomb in your bag? That kind of conversation. What is this young man, this young woman, what are they supposed to say? They're supposed to say, I'm praying. And I'll keep praying. No rise of voice, no lowering of voice. I'm sorry, I'm praying, I was just praying. No, that's not sadid, because you're apologizing. I'm praying for the sake of Allah. That's not sadid either, because now you're getting angry. Sadid, you have a purpose. You need to communicate what you're doing and why, or what you're doing and how intent you are on it, and how you're not sorry for it without offending anybody else. So you can just be and say, I'm praying, and I'm actually going to continue to pray. That's not going to stop. I love you though. You don't love me. If you love me, you would stop praying. I'm not going to stop praying, and I still love you. No, you don't. Forget it. I don't want to talk to you. Who's losing their mind now? Who's going all over the place? The person who, if you keep your composure, the people who try to throw you off, they lose their composure. You keep yours. This is the benefit of al-qawl al-sadid. This is the benefit of qawl al-sadid. The other side of al-qawl al-sadid, there's so many things here. Inshallah, we'll talk about them after salah, but like, another important piece of this that I'd like you to be mindful of, at least in this introductory commentary, is how this is connected to the previous ayah. لا تكونوا كالذين آذوا موسى. That was speech that hurts the Prophet. That speech that was meant to hurt the Prophet ﷺ. And now from that, Allah is teaching us that doesn't stop with the Prophet ﷺ. You need to learn to speak in a straightforward, dignified, targeted, purposeful manner all the time. And he didn't even put a maf'ul lahu. He didn't say قولوا للناس أو قولوا للمؤمنين قولا سديدا أو قولوا لبعضكم بعض قولا سديدا. No, قولوا قولا سديدا. So who do you talk to in this way? You talk to everyone this way. There's nobody you don't talk to this way. You must keep your arrow straight. You must keep your arrow straight. Sometimes I'm about to give khutbah, people come and say, son, there's some journalists here. Just wanted you to know. Oh, okay. I'll pick a different surah. If I have something to say that's based on the taqwa of Allah, and you want me to have the taqwa of the journalist, isn't the sidad of my speech going to change? Isn't that deviated speech? If I have taqwa of Allah and I have something meaningful, purposeful, straightforward to say, then I need to not be afraid of offending anybody. The only one I need to be afraid of offending is who? In the ayah. Allah. Where's that covered? Ittaqullah. Ittaqullah. So now Allah is teaching us actually that the only way we're going to develop clear speech communication is to truly develop taqwa. And when someone has a problem with clear speech communication, it's not a problem of speech, it's a problem of taqwa. The root first, fix what's in here. Don't be intimidated by anybody else. Be intimidated by Allah. When you're intimidated by Allah, then you'll be able to speak straightforward and you won't hurt anyone. Because you say, I fear Allah. I'm not afraid of anyone. No, I'm going to speak the haqq. No, because now you're not afraid of offending people. This is not, I'm not afraid to offend people. I'm not afraid of people, because there's two kinds of extremes. One group of people that speaks out of fear, the other group of people that speaks out of anger. Right? So either your fear is controlling you, and your fear can take you away from the taqwa of Allah, and your anger can control you, and your anger can take you away from the taqwa of Allah. Once you can manage both of those emotions, and you really have taqwa of Allah, then you can speak straightforward without your emotions getting in the way. Not your fear, not your anger. Yes. Some folks have this weird idea that the angrier you sound, the more Islamic you are. Right? So I just want to listen to the guy that gives like the, brothers, that just raises my iman, man, the way he yells, I love it. And these kuffar, and they're like, the adrenaline rush, so much taqwa. No, that's just your insecurity and your low self-esteem, and you felt powerful for a moment. And it felt good. Or you listen to a speaker, there's debates going on between Muslims and Christians, or Muslims and Hindus, or whoever, and the Muslim speaker humiliates the Hindu, humiliates the atheist, just absolutely just demolishes them in public and just batters them, and you're like, yes, Islam. That's not taqwa. That's not taqwa. If the kafir and the disbeliever and the atheist or whoever, if they're raising their voice, if they're getting loud, what does Allah say? إِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ what? قَالُوا سَلَامًا. Walk away. I can only have sadid conversation. If you want to raise your voice, then I can no longer have this conversation. I'm only interested in intelligent conversation, not emotional conversation. I can't do that. So I'm just going to walk away. Unlike before Islam, أَلَا يَجْهَلَنَّ عَلَيْنَا جَاهِلٌ فَنَجْهَلُ فَوْقَ جَهْلِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Right? The pre-Islam, the poet used to say, he killed the enemy tribe leader, and he put his foot on the corpse's head, and he proudly said, no one better become ignorant with us, because we will show them more ignorance than any ignorant people can ever have ignorance. You want to be jahil with us? We are going to be more jahil than any jahil ever been jahil. فَنَجْعَلُ فَوْقَ جَهْلِ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Right? Is that the Muslim response? ادفع بالتي هي أحسن. وَهْجُرْهُمْ إِذَا خَاطَبَهُمُ الْجَاهِلُونَ قَالُوا سَلَامًا. If they're mocking, then leave حتى يخوضوا في حديث غيره. Just go away. Don't engage this. This is not for you. That's also a lack of taqwa, because then it becomes about egos, isn't it? If I'm going to yell back, this is not about Islam anymore. This is about my emotional control. What is the regulation of my emotions? That's taqwa. Ya ayyuha alladhina amanu ittaqullah. I fear Allah. I'm mindful of Allah. I'm protecting myself from making Allah unhappy. Allah has given me guidelines on how to regulate my emotions, both fear and intimidation, and anger and rage. Even the Prophet ﷺ, as angry as they make him, Allah said, if they don't stop, then I will allow the Prophet to be angry at them. And even though they were offending him, Rasul ﷺ was given breaks. Da' adahum. Keep yourself from hurting them. There's emotional regulation in the Quran, not just spiritual regulation. There's communication regulation. And only then can you actually have clear communication. You cannot have clear communication without regulating your emotions. And the ultimate regulator of your emotions is the taqwa of Allah. That's what the ayah is saying. وَتَقْدِيمُ التَّقْوَى مُشْعِرٌ بِأَنَّمَا سَيُؤْمَرُونَ بِهِ مِنْ سَدِيدِ الْقَوْلِ مِنْ شُعَبِ التَّقْوَى كَمَا هُوَ مِنْ شُعَبِ الْإِيمَانِ. Clear, this kind of speech is part of the shu'ab of taqwa. Now, there are there's two major discussions left on this ayah. And then we'll get to the next ayah too, inshallah. The two major discussions are, there were three kinds of problematic people described in this surah, and then there are two models. The three problematic people are al-munafiqun, alladhina fi qulubihim marad, and al-murjifun. Yeah? And if Allah is telling us to have taqwa of Allah and speak straightforward, implicitly He's saying the munafiqun don't speak straightforward, alladhina fi qulubihim marad don't speak straightforward, and al-murjifun don't speak straightforward. But they all three have a different speech pathology. They all violate taqwa in their own ways. The munafiq is very clever with their speech in the Quran, yes or no? سَلَقُوكُمْ بِأَلْسِنَةٍ حِدَادٍ. They got sharp, metal, targeted tongues. They're very strategic with their comments. The problem is, when taqwa is in the heart, right? When the heart is in the wrong place, the arrow is shooting at the wrong target. It's a really good arrow, and it's a really good target, but it's the wrong target. You're very good at shooting your target. Because of nifaq, you always pick the wrong target. You pick the wrong target. Then you get الَّذِينَ فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٍ. They're not quite here, not quite there. Sometimes they speak and it hits the target. Sometimes they speak and it goes to the wrong target, because to them the target has become fuzzy. Because it's like if I'm comparing the heart to eyesight, their eyesight has become blurry. right? Their eyesight has become تعمى القلوب التي في الصدور, right? The hearts have become blind. So now, depending on the sickness, the more you start missing the mark, you're emotionally all over the place. So you're on sometimes, off sometimes, oscillating in your speech. Then you get the al-murjifuna fil Medina. The ones who want to create as many problems as possible, you know what they do? They do carpet bombing. Let's start every rumor possible, every lie possible. Hit the target, don't hit the target, try everything, something will stick. Let's flood Medina with all kinds of controversy, and hopefully something will land. Let's just take the quiver and take the arrow, just start shooting in the air. Right? Something will work. This is al-murjifun. Irjaf is literally like a zalzala. You're just trying to hit every place and any place. And you don't know which one's going to stick. This is why we found so many different kinds of attempts that the munafiqun were being duped into. Right? This is al-murjifun. So Allah says to the believers, well, the only way you're going to put a stop to this, the only way to create a response to this chaos is ittaqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. You're going to have the taqwa of Allah and you're going to speak in a directed, straightforward way. Now, this last comment before the prayer, inshallah. After the prayer, I'm going to talk to you about what is the opposite of al-qawl as-sadid. Because by opposites, things are known. تُعْرَفُ الْأَشْيَاءُ بِأَضْدَادِهَا. You recognize things by their antonyms, by their opposites. So if Allah is saying speak straightforward, clearly there's a problem of speaking not straightforward. There's al-iwaj fil kalam. Right? What does that look like? What does it mean to not speak straightforward? And how can I become more mindful of when I am and when I'm not speaking straightforward? What are the subtle ways in which I can start deviating from that? And the more I deviated from that, that is a violation of my own taqwa. So I have to protect my taqwa by protecting my speech. By the way, you'll notice in the next ayah, which we're not up to yet, you'll notice in the next ayah, Allah mentions يُصْلِحْ لَكُمْ أَعْمَالَكُمْ, right? He'll correct your actions. He'll fix your actions. Taqwa is where? In the heart. Speech is where? On the tongue. Actions are where? In the hands. There's a transition. It started in the hand, started in the heart, goes to the tongue, and translates into actions. So it's as if Allah is saying, actions are going to be directly impacted by what you say, and what you say will be directly impacted by your heart, if it has taqwa or not. So we cannot talk about changing actions until we talk about fixing speech, and we can't talk about fixing speech until we talk about taqwa. There's this pipeline that Allah described in this ayah. And we're going to explore that pipeline, inshallah ta'ala. Barakallahu li wa lakum fil Qur'an al-Hakim wa nafa'ani wa iyyakum bil ayati wa dhikr al-Hakim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Hey guys, you just watched a short clip from this surah. What I want you to do now is go through the entire surah with me. It's called the Deeper Look series, and you can catch it on bayinatv.com under the Deeper Look section. So get started.